it's like people I remember in business school, they always say, "Oh yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey." Remember, right, that word? And I was like, "What does it mean? It's a journey." Like, apply and you get into a role, but it is really a journey.
Thank you, Franco, for your time today. Really, really appreciate it. Would you please tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name again is Tal Franko. I'm Keenan Flagler, graduate 2015. I'm originally from Israel, born and raised in Tel Aviv. Came to the US in 2013 to do my MBA at UNC. I interned in the summer 2014 at Dell in Austin, which I'm actually now back in. And then in 2015, after I graduated, I got my full-time offer from Microsoft. When I started Microsoft in LA for 2 years, and then I relocated to Atlanta when I was there for 4 years in Microsoft. And then a year and a half ago, I moved from Microsoft to Google. Similar role, being an enterprise sales account executive. And then a month and a half ago, I moved to Austin. Again, same role as in sales account executive. That's a little bit about me. I know a lot of movements, a lot of changes in companies, but mostly I would say my entire career, like post MBA, I did like in sales. Maybe another funny thing about me, like before pre MBA, I was an engineer. I studied material science and chemistry. Yeah, so completely different world
Yeah.
and sales.
So, you said most of your career post MBA is in sales or tech sales, most likely.
Yeah.
Were you expecting yourself, or did you see yourself in this field before MBA?
No, I didn't even know what sales is. I was like, I thought sales was like, when you go to the malls and there's these people like, oh, hey, you want to buy that thing? Or these people cold calling you
Yeah.
and like, hey, do you want to buy? That's what I had in my head is sales. Okay. And it is some kind of sales, right? But it's not the type of sales that we as MBA do. And
Hmm.
then I remember I took Dave Roberts' class at
Yep.
UNC. And I
Great class.
remember he great class, and that kind of changed my mind, like mindset on sales. The mantra that he was trying to convey: everything in life is sales,
Mm,
right? A date is sales, a job interview
exactly.
is sales,
Yeah.
recruiting for a business school is sales, because you sell something, you sell yourself, you're the brand, you're the product. And that kind of made me think like, that's very interesting insight. So I do have some experience,
Hmm.
and I have to say that course was so useful because
Shifting gears a little bit, can you tell me about your process of getting into Google?
yeah, so that's a good question. So I have to say that, it's like people I remember in business school, they always say, "Oh yeah, it's a journey. It's a journey." Remember, like that word? And I was like, "What does it mean? It's a journey." Like apply and you get into a role, but it is really a journey. Like me in business school, I'm going to be honest. Like I tried to apply to Google, didn't even get an interview invite. I even first year I tried to get into Microsoft, like nothing.
Hmm.
It's the reason why it's a journey is like I remember in my first year I got into Dell. Okay, I did an internship there. And then because again I was a foreigner, I didn't have any experience of me. What is the guy? Something in the US, he didn't do anything. He's maybe a good engineer. He did something in KPMG in Israel, but he doesn't have any experience in the US.
Hmm.
So once I got into Dell and in the internship, then I already had a foothold in the door in the US with a technology company. And then this helped me get the interview in Microsoft. And then I was able to get the job with Microsoft. And then I spent almost 5 years in Microsoft doing cloud sales. Okay. And then after I had that experience, then I could come to Google, and then it was like, okay, this guy has the right experience from a big company like Microsoft. He knows exactly what the cloud space is and what we're doing. And then it was easy for me to use my network and find a place in Google, because to be honest, they wouldn't even talk to me
Hmm.
if I wouldn't have exactly that cloud experience that they were looking for from a
Hmm.
big other competitor like Microsoft. Just coming in like, hey, I want to do sales in cloud in Google would never go in. And the conversation was very natural. Like I had exactly the kind of skills that they were looking for.
Yeah.
So I was meeting with the hiring managers and I was telling them what I'm doing. This exactly the skills they were looking for. So it was it was quite actually then natural and simple to
Okay.
get into the process and the interview and then get in.
On LinkedIn, it says you're an enterprise account executive at Google Cloud. Would
Right.
you please tell me a little bit about what you do?
It is, I think the name account executive is very kind of accurate because I have accounts and I'm the executive for Google Cloud for these accounts.
Yep.
So it's basically like managing relationship. Okay. So you have an account, okay, like a company, and everything Google related, specifically Google Cloud, I'm their point of contact.
Gotcha.
Okay. So let's say that company wants to talk about their Google Maps.
Uh-huh.
Okay, or they want to talk about their infrastructure. They want to talk about machine learning, AI. Hey, I have this initiative. We want to get more insights in our e-commerce. Then we're having this conversation of how Google and also, of course, Google Cloud can help them with that. And I bring in, solution specialist. I bring in, industry specialist. I bring all these technical resources and also people from our Google business to have that conversation and help them. And of course, managing the contract, everything Google related and specifically Google Cloud that they need, I'm their person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so everything, hey, can you help us with this contract? Can you help us
Gotcha.
with that need? They come to me. And of course, new opportunities, not just existing or
Gotcha.
things they own, new initiatives, right? They want to expand their data centers to Japan. And they don't want to build a data center. They actually want to go put a cloud. Or, hey, you know what? We have too many collaboration tools. We have Slack, we have Zoom, we have Office. How do we consolidate? Oh, can we talk about Google Meet? Can we talk about ways to do something better? Hey, we want
Gotcha.
to use Google Docs. We want to use Google Sheets. All of these kind of conversations we can
Yeah.
talk about.
Yeah, yeah. What's the part that you like the most, and maybe what's the part you like not so much about the role?
So I'm an extrovert. I like being in front of customers. I love, that interaction, talking to them about their business challenges. Hey, how can we help? I get a lot of satisfaction when I solve like something and we help them and they're like,
Yeah.
wow, this was great. Yeah, this is exactly what we needed. And we get a win for the customer and of course for my quota, because in the end I'm sales incentivized.
Of course.
That's a great feeling, right? Like all these networking, interaction, happy hours. I love that stuff. It really is like MBA, right? These happy hours, networking event, that's kind of like sales, really. Like you go to meetings with customers, you hang out in their office, and that you meet this guy and he's like, oh, I want you to meet that other guy. And it's really like a networking event. Oh, can I meet with you? Well, let's do this. It's always like just you come to like a recruiter in a conference or a new guy you never met and you're like shaking hands. Hey, give me your 2 minute
Yeah, yeah,
spiel, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's seriously like that's what we do in sales. Like you meet this guy, hey, what's Google doing? What's this? How can we help? You're always meeting new people, new contacts, and that's something I love. I love that stuff. And also in normal times, pre-COVID, I love the traveling. Not too much, but I did love the traveling. Meeting at customers, a new site,
Yeah.
visiting. That was the fun thing of the job. But it's not, again, like you said, it's not all perfect in sales. Like sometimes you meet with customers, especially like the big enterprise one, and there's just a lot of politics, right? It's not all you want to you're going to get a deal across,
Uh-huh.
and there's the CIO and the CISO and the VP of infrastructure and this guy, oh, I like Amazon, oh, this guy I like Microsoft, or this
Yeah.
guy, no, I want to keep my stuff on premises, the data center.
Yeah.
And you need to convince them, and then it just things really get political, and there's just a lot of stakeholders, and then sometimes you can be stuck in that game, and you need to talk with this guy, and it's kind of like groups. Like that guy, he's your sponsor, he likes you, but that other guy, he's against you, and you need to kind of transform him, and sometimes he's blocking that deal, and sometimes the budget doesn't go through, and
Yeah.
there's all these moving parts. I would say it's the best, I would say comparable, it's like a job interview, right? Like
I like
it's
that
not just
guy.
one decision, right? There's like 4 or 5 people you're in the
Yep.
interview process, and one guy really likes you, the other guy likes that other person, and the other person thinks, oh, I don't know if he has the skill set or this. And you need to kind of like, no, I can really do it, guys. Just give me a chance. And you're like, oh, I don't know. And you need to convince that guy. And oh, we need to invite you to another interview to make sure. It's kind of like all of that back and forth.
Yeah.
It can be kind of exhausting sometimes, but
of course,
because when you're selling as an enterprise account executive, you're not selling to one person, right? It's not like, in a mall, there's one guy and he's the decision maker. He has the budget, right? He has the wallet with the money, and he has the need, and he's also the guy going to use the product. When you're selling to a big company, it's sometimes there's so many people, right? There's the guy that's actually going to use the product, the procurement person in charge of the contracting, the CIO that's in charge of this enterprise, of this, the vision for the company, the security guy who needs to make sure it's all secured, the business person that's like in charge of the revenue for that group. It's so many people, and they, in the end, you have to convince all of them to sign off. And so that's the piece which can be a little bit exhausting. Customers are not easy to work with, really, not easy.
Any advice for those people who do not have sales background and want to be in sales?
This will be very simple. You don't need a sales background. I didn't have a sales background. As I mentioned, I'm an engineer. I had no idea about sales, really. For me, when I, graduated from MBA, it was about the company. I wanted to be in Microsoft. Seriously, like I would take every role. Sales, that's what I got. But if they would tell me, oh, yeah, you're going to do product management, I was like, okay. Yeah, you want to do marketing? I was like, okay. I just hit sales, and I had no idea anything about sales. But I'm an adaptable person. I was like, you know what? I'll figure it out. I'll really figure out. And something, a great company like Microsoft was willing to take the risk on me and invest in me and teach me. And they just gave me the accounts, and I kind of learned, learn as you go. But you really don't need sales experience. Like everybody is like, oh, no, I'm never going to apply for sales, or I don't have any sales experience. It's MBA sales. It's not that kind of sales like car sales or malls selling stuff in the mall. It's actually like the day-to-day stuff we do in the MBA. It's networking. It's, the 2-minute pitch.
Yeah.
It's talking about ROI, balance sheet, like really high-level business conversation or present. That's the kind of stuff we do. Building relationship. That's MBA sales. So you don't need any sales experience. I know it's so many people don't apply and because they see, sales. You don't need any sales experience. Everyone that started with me in Microsoft in my first year, all business MBAs from UCLA, MIT, none of them had sales experience. None of them. There was a guy, I remember, he was from Darden. He worked in some healthcare company before. There was another guy from Duke. He worked he was something in Delta, like I think financial. There was another guy from UCLA. I don't know. He did like venture capital or something. None of them had sales background. And most of us did fine, really. Most of us did fine. You really don't need sales background.
Gotcha.
You just need to be open-minded and to learn and to roll with the punches. There's no need for sales background, especially if you go to this big company like Microsoft or Google or Amazon, that they'll train you. They have programs there. They'll train you. I'm not going to say it's easy, and you need to know that, okay, sales is a good fit for me. But if you are and you're open-minded, I think, you really don't need sales experience.
Gotcha. Awesome. Franko, I think that was all my questions for today. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience with the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jung. It was great. My pleasure helping, and this was fun. Fun conversation.
Thank you.